Welcome back, Connor, to YouTube's premier storyboarding channel, Ink and Grow Rich, where we dive deep into the art of bringing stories to life, one frame at a time. In our last adventure, I took you behind the scenes of how I storyboarded a rather whirlwind MGM commercial. The director was completely out of contact, no locations had been picked out yet, and the production team were under an insanely short time constraint. So, I was given a script, a cryptic shot list, and a heartfelt good luck. I did the best with what I had to work with. Shortly afterwards, received the following email from the director. Hi Vinny, here are my notes. Happy to discuss on phone, whatever. Followed by this laundry list of adjustments. Now, at first glance, it may appear to be a lot, but honestly, considering the, let's say, minimalist instructions I started with, these notes are really not bad at all. In fact, as you get down here towards the end, you'll find that a lot of this is simply restructuring some of the existing frames. So, overall, it was a pleasant surprise. Okay, so the first 3 notes he's got listed here all involve the same shot. First, he wants to eliminate a shot of 3A. That's simple enough, so we just go right ahead and knock that out immediately. But then his second and third notes are, 3B, just make this texture of the basketball court as the background image. Some tight of shoes, then the stoop pop-up from 3C comes in first. 3C, same basketball texture, and a radio dude comes up. The way he's written it sounds a bit confusing, but all he's asking for is to replace that shot of the kid doing the James Harden Super Bowl thing with a much simpler shot of feet shuffling across an outdoor basketball court. But before we start drawing that, let me just point out this final thought he had at the end of his email, because it kind of affects every other background shot moving forward. And that note is, also, just trying to make sure the background image changes, even if just slightly. So if we're on a house, we get the idea that the background is moving and we see another house. Or if it's basketball texture as the background for the pop-ups, the first one we see some shoes on the concrete, then the next one is still shows, but we see the ball bounce. Just so it's like the image behind is changing a bit. Obviously, it doesn't have to be a whole new image to draw, but just a little different if possible. So, once again, the way it's written sounds a bit confusing. It's not his fault. I'm sure when he wrote this email, he was juggling 20 other things, but all he's requesting is that these background images just have some movement to them, so they don't just feel like static images, right? So anything that I can do to show that these background images have some life to them would be very much appreciated. So, with that thought in mind, I went online and I found some photos of kids playing street basketball, and then I simply zoomed way in until we're just seeing their feet. Now, this first image just establishes the shot. The second frame, I kind of had to photo bash it together because I couldn't find exactly what I wanted, but essentially, I've got the background player breaking away to camera left, and then in the third shot, he slipped in front of the defender and is coming towards us. So, we've got these 3 frames in the background, while the guy sitting on the stoop pops up first, followed by the radio announcer, which is the opposite of what we had previously. Now that I've got those pop-ups in place, I'm going to double back and trace those sneaker shots. Due to your constantly shrinking attention span, I've elected to speed this part of the video up by about 500%. Before we go any further, let's start up a new storyboard template and start assembling the new board as we go. We've got the first 2 shots, which were unaltered, followed by our 3 new shots, 3A, 3B, and 3C. Next note up on the list, then go to 5, 6A, and 6B, but instead of having it say no way, have it say, who do you like in the finals? All right, so we'll grab our old frame 5 and drop that into place, and then we'll do the same for 6A. However, for 6B, I'm going to copy 6A, then move it to the left slightly to give the illusion that the camera is traveling to the right. I'm doing this because of the director's global comment earlier on adding as much movement to the background shots as possible. All right, with that nonsense out of the way, I'll pop this little window back into place and then change the text to match the new dialogue. Okay, next note on the director's list, then go to 7 to 8D, but don't have them be fighting so much in the background image. No finger pointing needed. All right. Okay, so after dropping 7 into place, which is the elevator shot, I'll come back in here. In order to dial down the aggression in these pizza parlor shots, I'll first adjust the body language of the camera right patron. As it's currently drawn, he's leaning in for a fight. But by simply pulling his torso back into an upright position, we've already released some of the tension. Next, I'll erase the infamous finger pointing, and I'll put his hands down at his sides in more of a, hey, can you believe this guy fashion. And boom, just like that, now we're having a civilized disagreement. Let's now copy that frame and then paste it into our new set of boards 3 times. Now, as before, I want to add some life to these background images by making some minor changes. So I'm gonna make minor adjustments to the body language in each successive frame, but again, just making sure not to have it feel overly aggressive. And in addition, I want to grab the pop-up windows from the previous set of boards and drop them into place as well because those have not changed. All right, going back to the director's comments, he has asked for, then go to 4A to 4D. But in 4C, he turns and says something back to the dude walking. All right, going back to the original boards, we'll grab the old 4A, the old 4B, and the old 4C. However, I'll erase this guy's head and redraw it so that he's yelling some fun and I'm sure flattering comment out to the fella on the sidewalk. Then 4D is just a shot out of the window and we are passing houses in this suburban neighborhood. Occasionally, see people walking. Zoom in on people in the windows. Each background frame should be a little different. All right, now we are gonna have some fun cheating. First, I'm gonna cobble together this piss poor example of a car door frame, but afterwards, I'm gonna open up my stock asset sheet on suburban neighborhoods. The idea here is that we're gonna see a few different houses passing by outside this car window, so rather than have to draw them from scratch, I'm just gonna select the one I like, and then pop it into place. Look at me, I'm a fucking rock star. Then I'm going to pull the exact same stunt, but with pedestrians. No point in reinventing the wheel here, folks. A quick visit to my extras asset sheet resulted in this fine-looking couple. I'll drop them in, set their layer to multiply, and then erase the background image behind them. Easy peasy, booby squeezy. I've now got an idyllic image of suburban America that would make Norman Rockwell weep into his apple pie. For the next two frames, I'm going to repeat that old hat trick, but this time we're going to zoom in past the car window, which ironically was the only part of the last frame that I actually drew. At 4E, we're still passing houses as background texture and the Twitter thing comes up. Then, 4F, another box comes up of a dude walking, but he's selfie videoing himself as he's talking. Let's go ahead and grab that Twitter window from the old frame 4D, and we will paste it into new frame 4E and frame 4F. Opening up another one of my cheat sheets, I'm going to select a guy walking towards us, drop him in a frame, raise his hand, figure out my framing, and then simply draw a selfie stick coming towards camera and out of frame. Next, I will select my perspective tool and then vaguely render in a city environment behind it. Okay, before I finish this page, I want to double back and draw arrows for the last three frames, representing this is all one shot and we're panning left to right. Then go to 13A to 13C, but make the shots super tight on the ball or the person throwing it. Very long lenses and kind of abstract, nothing wide. And 13C should have the ground spike in it as the background. Okay, so these are the three frames I'm going to be replacing. We'll start with this photo I found online and we'll keep it as a medium. Then we'll go ahead and grab this spiking shot from the old boards and we'll lay that into place as the third frame of the sequence, after making a few minor alterations. Going back to the first frame, I'm now obviously going to trace over this photo, but I'm going to change his clothes slightly because the collared shirt just isn't working for me. Also, I feel like his right arm should be cocked back a bit more, so that's what I'm going to draw. Let's also put the ball a little further along its path. And finally, let's replace this beach background with the suburban park location. second shot in the sequence, I'll grab another photo I found online of a kid catching the ball, and then trace that photo while, again, changing the kid's wardrobe slightly. Finally, I'll add another kid barreling down on him in the background. And that should just about finish up this 3-frame background plate. Then we got 9, and then 10 through 12. These are all self-explanatory. I'm just gonna revisit the old boards, copy those frames, and then paste them into place in our new set of boards. And then your original 3A and 3C, but instead of those 2 dudes in 3C layered frames, it's a woman in a car and a fire. Okay, so I went into the old boards and I drew this woman and fire in the pop-ups, but I forgot to record myself doing so. I guess you're just gonna have to rely on that sparkly imagination of yours. Okay, so we're going to revisit the lion shot from earlier, but we'll see a little bit more from this time. So, I found my original PSD file, which still had the reference photo underneath. I selected a charcoal brush, set the foreground color to white, and then painted in a bit more of the lion. Afterwards, I just drop that new frame into place. All right, more copying and pasting from the original boards. Then go to scene in house of office of 2 people in that cubicle shouting predictions over Cubicle to each other. And then another colleague walks by and says they're onion. I'm guessing that's supposed to say line. All right, another quick visit to the trusty old Google yielded this nifty photo, which I feel will work fairly well. The left-hand side of the photo is good as is, so I'm going to start tracing that side, particularly the cubicle. The guy in the right is a bit too passive for my taste, so I'm going to choose this dude from yet another photo and drop him into place. Next, I'll copy and paste this cubicle stuff that I drew and flip it. The guy on the right is still not right, so I'm essentially just going to draw around him to get what I want. And the guy on the left, I'm just going to freehand entirely because I just don't feel like looking for another photo. All right, then I'll copy and paste this whole background. And then change both of their heads so that they're looking into the foreground, where I'm going to add a new guy walking in from camera left. Copy and paste one final time, and then revisit the original boards to grab all of those pop-ups and drop them into our new backgrounds, but tweaking them slightly so that they're not blocking this guy's head. In fact, I kind of feel like these are so busy that I might want to have a before image to start with. So just copy a background with no pop-ups and move that to the front. And finally, just to put a tight little bow on this whole package, we'll copy and paste the final 3 frames from the original boards. And with that, this round of revisions is coming to a close. Truth be told, after delivering these boards to the director, there were like 2 more rounds of tweaks, but they were so incidental, it would just be a waste of your time to watch it, so I didn't even bother. All right, everybody, I think that's just about gonna wrap it up for today's episode. If you have any questions about what we covered here today, or if you just want to tell me how much you hate me, drop on down to the comment section below and hit me up, Buttercup. And as always, if you found this video insightful or entertaining and would like to see more of them in the future, go ahead and hit that subscribe button below. Until next time, this is Vinny DeLay with Ink and Grow Rich.